This week's Parashat of Miketz cannot be seen in isolation. We're right in the middle of the Joseph story. This is the middle one. Vayeshev Miketz and Vayigash are the Joseph story. Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, to borrow from Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. But even that can't be seen in isolation. The Joseph story is not something in isolation itself. We have to look at the entirety of the family of Abraham and even the family of the world and the Sefer Bereshit to understand the Joseph story and in particular parts of the Joseph story. So, for example, sibling rivalry is nothing new in Sefer Bereshit. Cain quarreled with Hevel and even killed him. Yishmael and Yitzchak, they separated in their youth. Esau wanted to kill Yaakov. But Yosef and his brothers, they're at another level. Last week's parasha, we first hear about the brothers' hatred for Yosef. The word hatred, snu'ah, hatred. This is a harsh word, and it's repeated 3 times in last week's Sedra. They see how Yaakov makes Yosef the special coat, and they hate him. They hate him more when he tells him the dream. And each time the hatred increases until it leads to, well, the outcome that we know so well. But we have to ask ourselves, how can brothers come to such hatred? What made Yosef turn from an annoying little brother to a hated brother? And I think that we have to look back and see the only time when hatred was mentioned within the Abrahamic family before this to see the answer. And this, of course, was Leah, who felt hated, even though she tried very hard to fight it. We read in Parashat Vayetze, we read that Vataha Leah vatelet bein vatikra shemo Reuven. Ki ra'a Hashem ba'onyi. Hashem has seen my affliction. Next time we see Vatoma ki shama Hashem ki snua anochi. I am hated. And even before that, we see that Leah is Vaya Hashem ki snua Leah. Hashem saw that Leah was hated. So we have to ask ourselves, is there a connection between these 2 episodes of hatred? And I think there is. The book of Bereshit, which is largely the story of one family, the Abrahamic family, teaches us that hatred does not disappear on its own. Negative emotions that are absorbed into a person, they don't just appear and disappear. They have a starting point, and if they're not resolved and they're not treated, they will return to appear later in various forms in the children and perhaps even later. And I think that Leah's sons understood something from their mother's experience. They experienced her grief. They experienced the feeling that she was the second-rate wife, the one who was not the favorite. She was not Yaakov's true love. And then when they saw how Yaakov treated Joseph, Rachel's son, giving him a special shirt, giving him special status, making him the chosen one, the emotions stirred within them. And all of that charged relationship between Yaakov and his wives at the beginning re-emerged in them, in the brothers of Yosef. And the hatred that their mother Leah experienced, they now turned back upon Yosef, Rachel's son. And all this shows us, and we see those words again, Snuah, we say that they hated Yosef, this same word. Where do we see that word again? We see that this shows us that the initial hatred has the potential to later turn into murderous acts. When hatred is not dealt with, it only gets worse, and it goes even further for generations to come. So we're told in Sefer Vayikra, we're told that one should not hate one's brother in your heart. Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha. Don't hate your brother in your heart, because it's only going to get worse. What you have to do is deal with it. Get it out of your system. You might not like something, deal with it, but you must not hate it in your heart, because if you do, you'll never know where this hatred may lead us. And that is a problem that we must avoid at all costs. Brother hating brother cannot be tolerated. That's the message from the Torah as a result of the hatred that we saw in last week's Sedra, culminating in the events of Yosef, which we're in the middle of in this week's Sedra. Shabbat Shalom, Chanukah Sameach for what's left of it, and I hope to see you all very soon.